To answer the question,
yes.
Is hip hop Republican?
It's not that easy a question to answer.
Clearly it's not. Let me read this tweet, man, and kind of dive in and see what y'all think. So, hip hop is fueled by Republican views and principles. The right to bear arms, freedom of speech, small government, and capitalism. Money outside the tax code. We do for us. We don't need y'all. We'll go to war over street politics. Hip hop is Republican, and so am I.
Who said this?
It's just a tweet that was put in our
some
topic
random person.
suggestions.
His name is Nick Preach.
Yeah, so Nick was preaching. Was Nick preaching on that comment? What you think, Long, about that?
He's not entirely wrong.
Okay. He might be on to something a little bit.
Man, there's a lot to unpack with the statement. Yeah. I mean, the right to bear arms, freedom of speech, small government, capitalism. Especially so I think of the shift that happens when hip hop became super commercial in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a lot of Republican conservative viewpoints out of a lot of those rappers. So, I mean, that's my initial thought. Okay. But is hip hop Republican? I don't feel like it is derived from that.
Okay. I don't think it is politically. I think it is from an idealistic point of view, because you gotta put it in perspective that there's people who never had anything, and they see people who are driving nice cars, have Rolexes on their arms, jewelry, have a nice looking girl, nice cars, and they all were Republican essentially. I mean, how many times has Donald Trump been shouted out in a rap song?
No,
that's a good point.
Up to now, until he took presidency. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm also going to say this statement: the right to bear arms. Yeah, okay, but so the part of the problem I have with this framing is it's framing Republican as opposed to conservative.
Exactly.
And so because Republicans and Democrats realistically believe this same thing, the right to bear arms, there are a lot of Democrats that want that. Freedom of speech, who doesn't want freedom of speech?
Right.
Small government is more of a Republican conservative idea. Capitalism is definitely both Democrat and Republican.
Right.
And money outside of the tax code.
Don't nobody want to pay taxes.
It's like, if you're going to say it's Republican views, this is where I feel like the nuance is I'm trying to decide is this person really hip to saying Republican, or
is it more about that?
Does he mean Republican, or is he confusing the two ideas? And so I don't know. So I mean, I feel like there's an argument for this in some circles, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of leftist values in hip hop too. So
I mean, a lot of it is kind of Robin Hoodish too. That's in a sense.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not Republican views, because if I'm trying to earn revenue to take care of my people and my neighborhood, essentially, that's not a Republican view. That's a Democratic point of view, because you want to take care of these groups of people versus you being the only one that has it like that.
It's that idea goes towards taxes,
right,
and redistributing wealth,
right,
into the community, which is not Republican, because conservative viewpoints is pretty much trickle down economics. I'll take all the money and eventually that money will come down, which isn't a thing. But
or even having enough money to build up the hood and open different places and provide resources for them in order to make money too. So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's socialism, but there's some socialist idea. You can make some little Marxist.
Politically, is definitely not, in my personal opinion, Republican. All the rappers coming up hated Ronald Reagan in the 80s.
Yeah, because of what he did to the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the reason why I think this is nuanced, is because if it's I don't know, there's just lots of nuance in here. So
what you think, Jay? Jump in.
Well, I am what you would consider a financial fiscal conservative. Okay. But, when I actually spoke about this with someone who else was like, oh, so we agree. And I said, yes, I'm a fiscal conservative. I think there should be definitely a freeze on military spending. And we have to stop writing blank checks to the police in major metropolitan areas. And it's like, whoa, I wasn't talking about that. See, but I'm talking about actual fiscal conservatism. When they talk about it, they're like, well, we need to get rid of PBS, and the library can only be open on the weekend.
I don't think that makes you fiscally conservative, though.
I mean,
why not? Because
I see where the lion's share of the money that we pay into our taxes is going, and I was like, well, if we really want to get past, if we really care about this deficit like we say we do, And if we really want to rein in spending, we need to start at the Pentagon, which has failed its last 5 audits.
But go into why you.
But then it becomes something else.
Well, because I mean, that was going to be my next question to Jay. I was like, well, are you against like redistributing the military funds to PBS and to healthcare?
Well, see, this is the thing. Why you I see that, and that's just it. Because the problem people have with paying taxes is they don't see anything from it.
Right.
Like the people who pay higher rates of taxes in other countries, it seems oppressive. But then wait a minute, they get free health care. They get a top-notch education.
They can take 2 months off a year. When mother has a child, she can stay home.
Right.
Or half a year or something. Yeah.
And so when we see what they get for their taxes, at least this is how I view it. And I see what we get where, the road that the mayor lives on still has potholes in it, then I have a problem with it. But, and also my whole thing about maintaining the economic structure of the United States is we need to go ahead and decriminalize marijuana. And that doesn't come off as conservative to some people, but I'm like, do you realize that's billions of dollars that we are not putting through our banks in the United States of America?
People own portions of the cannabis business.
Exactly. True. And if honestly, I
don't think that's conservative though.
Exactly. But I'm thinking about as much from the social side of the fact that we can no longer criminalize cannabis and throw people into jail for this. Mm-hmm. But because that's a waste of money.
Right.
But it's also a bad look because here it is. It's all this money that is not. Our banks are having a hard enough time as it is, and for right now we have, because it just got cleared for this was crazy. Recreational in Missouri.
Yeah, I saw that.
And, in large places, Chicago, New York, California, Denver, none of billions of dollars not going through any banks. Mm. So you can see once again, we talk about nuance,
right?
When we talk about finance being an actual financial conservative, if you will. But also I'm one of those people when I hear Beto O'Rourke talk about how, he wants to ban all, assault rifles. I'm like, I can't get down with that either, because if the only people who can have guns are the police and the military, I'm sorry. No, I realize, but at the same time, I also realize when people say, it's about mental health. Well, then we need to fund mental health with some of that money.
But again, to your point, I would argue that you're not talking about fiscal conservatism. I would say that you just want the taxes to go to a place that actually makes sense.
But you could argue that if at the root of things, that's actual, like, as opposed to, spending,
we're just not used to it
$1,500 on a wrench.
Yeah,
we spent, and all this money on. Wait a minute, I'm like, why are we still giving the military this much more money? Didn't we pull out of Afghanistan?
Right.
Why are we still why we've increased military, because I remember one of Donald Trump's talking points was like, the military, they don't even have bullets and this, that, the third. And they're so downtrodden. And it was like military spending increased every year for 8 years under Barack Obama. So you can't play that card for people who actually read.
Yeah, it's because it's a big business.
Well, yeah, I mean, because, and also, once again, this is when you get talking to people about these things. And I'm sorry, this is going to make somebody mad, but honestly, military contractor, that's the biggest welfare state in the United States of America. The money's not even going to defend freedom. It's just going to keep the Raytheons, the Boeings. It's just going to keep these companies in business who maybe need to find something else to do.
Yeah. So again, I would just say I still don't see it as fiscally conservative, and the reason why is because I feel like everybody is fiscally conservative in that manner, as we don't want our taxpayer. So I almost feel like it's a moot point.
So you shot that down, but what about the fact that I still want to be able to have my AR-15?
That's different, right? Yeah. So I just fundamentally disagree with that, but at the same,
would just be conservative.
Yeah, I mean,
not necessarily fiscal.
I don't know.
I mean, I still want to have my arms too. To be honest with you,
the reason I want to have mine is like if some of these crazy white folks come around talking about I want my country back, I'll be like, yeah, we'll see about that.
I understand. No, but I understand.
That's real.
The unique thing with that is like I understand. Like I understand the argument for that. I understand why people say, "Nah, I'm not going to give it up," and I understand why it's such a crazy argument to think that guns could potentially go away, or because, but again, it's like always the argument, well, the criminals will still have guns, right? And yeah, they will. Yeah.
But also, I also understand that a lot of why certain politicians ride so hard for gun ownership is not because they really care about safety, but it's because they're in the pocket of these corporations, and the idea of the idea of a corporation is to year over year make more money. So you have to have these people there with the AR-15 pins on their lapel.
It's the corporation, and it's the people that support them. So majority of their support are people that want to do that. So of course they're going to align themselves with that ideology and way of thinking, because it appeases their crowd that's going to get them to the position they need to be.
But the thing is, most people across the board, Republican and Democrat, conservative, liberal, don't have a problem with like, okay, criminal background checks and common sense checks for people maybe with mental health. But the thing is, you can't sell. Once again, there has to be a year-to-year increase in gun sales of guns and ammunition, or else you're not making the shareholders happy, And so, like, it's not about actual freedom and the right to bear arms in the Second Amendment. This is about, year over year growth.
It's about America being an oligarchy.
Oh, there you go.
Long Beach.
Look, and it really is.
And as somebody who is, last 2 or 3 years become a retail investor, I look at these things and I was like, okay, well, maybe McDonald's needs to close those restaurants. You start thinking about it in the way of, okay, yeah, those are people out of a job, but like that's gonna cut down on a lot of costs and drive up profits, and that's the way most of the people who are actually lobbying for looser gun laws, they don't really care if these kids get shot. But the thing is, every time it happens, every time it happens and they talk about, oh, maybe we should have some more gun control, people run out to the gun stores and buy as many guns as they want.
Yeah.
Every time a Democrat gets elected, they're like, well, we better go to the store, even though there's no chance. Like Barack Obama was never going to start banning guns. No. But that's what they tell these people, and that's how you get year over year increase in profits. And it's still all about selling product, and that's the sad thing. It just happens to be the product kills people, as opposed to, hamburgers kill people, but slowly.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, but
that's someone who had a hamburger today.
Look, man, you can throw as many hamburgers as you want at somebody.
Well, yeah,
it's like I don't know. I don't know. To me, I would just ban. I would just ban them. Put me in charge so I can just ban them and just piss everybody off. I would piss everybody off.
I'm not opposed to banning an assault rifle, so to speak, as long as I can still have my handgun. I
think my argument with it, the way that I feel about this in general is, I think the whole argument for having guns is just out of fear. I think that's
it's to be ready. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
But it's a different kind of fear. Because first of all, I don't want to get, once again, we've been a little racy this episode. It is what it is, but a lot of times, a lot of white people bought guns because they were urban blight.
Yeah.
And they're coming for you. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're all armed and make sure. And
absolutely.
For some people, it's like, oh, we want to be able to shoot varmints on the homestead. Me, I look, man. Once again,
I get it.
These people who
really
are trying to.
If I'm a homeowner
who want to make America great again, and I was like, well, I know how they get down, so let me make sure I can get down too.
If I'm a homeowner and I have a family, I just feel like I should have the right to be able to protect my family based off that. Now, who knows what happens? We don't know what situations happen. Everything happens so fast, so you can never predict anything. But the ability to be able to,
I think the statistics are something. Don't quote me on this, but I think the statistics are actually higher to think you'll end up shooting yourself than somebody breaking into your house or something.
No, I mean he's right. That's the thing.
It's like
that's the thing because everyone thinks they're a responsible gun owner until a toddler winds up shooting somebody.
I mean, but it's that's on and what you guys are talking about as it relates to a toddler, like when you use that as an example, right? Like
but
there are
grown-ups
or even grown-ups, but you know,
but like we're the only country where toddler shootings are a problem.
But don't you think? Well,
That's crazy.
That's actually that's crazy.
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was
just gonna say, like, when you look at like, it's one of these things. Like, I feel like we have this internal bias towards guns, like almost everybody. And when you check the stats of like other countries and stuff like that, we have the biggest issue, and we're the one country that can't. That they're just like, no, we have to have our guns. You know, it's just like,
I mean, you saw the thing about Australia where they had a mass shooting. Basically, they're like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. And they banned assault rifles and haven't had a mass shooting in like 25 or 30 years.
It's like,
the problem is the
stats, man.
But we had
propaganda because they'll sell it to you like you got to be ready in case the war pops off here.
Yes.
And be fearful of these other countries that might do this and that and the other.
China's coming.
If our military is as good as they say they are,
talk to them,
and our technology is as good as they say it is, there's no way they can make it over here.
Nah.
Well, that, and also when we say, oh, yeah, we got to.
On paper, that's what it is, ain't it?
That's what it is.
Have the militia to fight the look.
That's
the United States military. They got laser guns. They ain't told you about.
They
shit.
have bases in every other country. How many countries have bases in the United States? How many other countries have bases in the United States? We have one in every country.
They have technology to where they can just look at us with a satellite.
Yeah.
It's just they can kill us with drones. Like at the end of the day, our shotgun in our closet that we're here to protect our family against what was it? What's it? Not oppression, but like what do you call it when it's like statewide oppression against the government? I don't know. Tyranny.
Yeah,
right?
the tyranny of the tyranny.
It doesn't matter. We have
if a tank is rolling down the street,
it don't matter.
Like, my AR-15 isn't going to do much.
No, it's not. Like John with 19 different rifles in his shed.
Yeah,
he can only hold one at a time. So I mean, like it's just the argument when you start to stack it up, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think that we'll ever get. Maybe we will one day, but I don't know because like if kids getting killed in elementary schools can't change people's minds, I don't really know.
No, after Sandy Hook, when all those kids got shot a week before Christmas, I was like, and we didn't change anything then.
It's the people.
And remember, we had an assault weapons ban that expired during George W. Bush's presidency, and that's when there was the spike after we. There were no, you couldn't buy an AR-15 or AK-47 for a long time.
I mean, you still can't buy an Uzi, as far as I know.
Not legally.
Exactly. I mean.
No, I mean, but there's people out here with the Call of Duty guns. They're not thinking about none of this.
No, I mean, they ain't, but imagine somebody using that on the street some damn where.
All these people out here with switches and bump stocks and all this other stuff, they don't care. That
switch will get you 10, 15.
Yeah,
how many?
10 to 15.
10 minimum.
Well, here's what is going to continually happen. Let's say you do ban guns. Are they all going to leave the streets?
Just magically disappear?
No, they're not going to.
How's that going to happen?
What's going to happen is they're going to have something just like Australia did, and they're going to have a buyback of some sorts. Mm-hmm. And then throughout time, people are going to die just of old age. Mm-hmm. People are going to find guns hidden in walls. Shouts to some of my relatives.
Hey.
And slowly but surely, those guns are going to be removed from the public.
Or they'll enlist martial law, which everybody is scared of, and they'll just come in your houses and take all the guns.
Maybe.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, drones, that's
if they want you, they don't get you.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Look, all I know is like, because in Florida, they just said now on July 1st, you're not going to need a permit to, carry a concealed weapon. I was like, Florida want to be Indiana so bad. But no, I'm not.
Why are we going?
Just kidding.
Wow. I just don't understand why we're going backwards. I guess that's the thing. Like,
but my cousin,
why can't we make it better?
Who's an attorney, in Florida, is like, okay, so we're going to let all the people out who had guns on them and didn't have permits?
Yeah, which this should happen.
But you know what? But we're not going to do that. You know what? We're not going to.
True.
We're not going to do that because those people are disproportionately black.
Yeah, we still got people locked up and getting locked up for marijuana. So yeah, that's a lost cause.
All right, man. Well, I always.
So to answer the question,
yes,
is hip hop Republican?
It's not that easy a question to answer.
Clearly, it's not.
Yeah,
y'all job.
I don't think it's conservative though.
I always learn when we
not as a whole.
Really. I don't. These conversations.
Yeah, I don't think so as a whole. I mean,
I think what happens is eventually, when I think what sometimes people confuse is just the fact that they equate like the accumulation of money with Republicans,
right?
And Democrats do that too. To me, it's capitalism.
And
if you're going to say, is hip hop capitalist, I would say yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
Oh, yes.
Republican,
100%.
no.
But you know,
Capitalist,
but I always say there's a difference between someone who says, "Hey, I can build a better mousetrap. It only cost me $250 to make it. I'm gonna sell it for $10," as opposed to somebody who's like, I know I got the patent for insulin for free, but I'm going to charge $500 for insulin.
Yeah. But I would say, to argue that point real quick, I would say capitalism has one inherent thing that this lives within it. Mm-hmm. And that's the number one thing that capitalism wants to do is make money at the behest of labor. So the goal to make more money is to exploit labor. So if I'm going to make a bunch of mousetraps, sure, you can be equitable as a mousetrap owner, but at the end of the day, you're still going to continually exploit your labor for as much as you can to make as much money as you can.
Well, yeah, because I don't want to have to pay more to make my mousetrap than I'm going to sell it for.
And that is an inherently human trait, and you can't get away from that, which is why capitalism is inherently going to continue to get worse as it goes throughout time.
Because what I could do is instead of I could pay but this is where people say, "Oh yeah, this is so bad." But then I say, "Okay, well, I can pay my people more. Mousetrap's going to cost $25 more. It's going to cost $25 now." Just like when people say, "We should have iPhones made in America. Do you want a $2,000 iPhone?"
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
Cool.
And then people, exactly.
Cool. Sure.
Kind of like the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean,
all this stuff is grown over here, but
you know what's going to happen?
Should they charge?
It will increase. It will increase. It will make businesses have to be smarter, and it will weed out the businesses that aren't as good. It's the free market. I mean, we love the free market, right?
I'll
make a mousetrap that can kill 2 mice at the same time.
Hey,
they got those.
It actually inspires innovation.
Big ass rat trap.
Well, I mean, that's what happened.
That'll kill 2.
I mean, that's what happened in America. When we were making VCRs. And then all of a sudden, a Japanese company was like, "Let's put a clock on it."
Yeah. Or you just get the bucket and peanut butter and you can kill as many mice as you want.
I'm not
Will a bucket of peanut butter kill a rat?
The bucket of peanut butter doesn't kill it, but it traps it.
It'll trap a rat.
What you do with it after it's trapped is on you.